we saw Darvin Ham get fired last week by the Lakers, and we kind of figured the Suns would follow suit with Frank Vogel, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So the Suns fired Frank Vogel after just one season, the first season of a 5-year contract, which means they're going to be paying that man till what, like 2029?
28.
Or 2028,
the first season.
Yeah, it just feels like a scapegoat. Just another name added to the list of coaches fired under Kevin Durant.
Wait, he was fired after one season?
Yeah, this is Vogel's first year.
First season.
Yeah, because Monty moved to Detroit.
Keep in mind, too, that he was fired after, what, his second season with the Lakers? 1 year after winning a ring?
That's insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
What is up with that?
I'm telling you, when you have stars as big as LeBron, as big as KD, it's the team will always side with them in most circumstances. Unless you're Joe Tsai and you're an absolute idiot, then you're going to always side with your franchise player, and not necessarily your franchise player. It's your egotistical franchise players. And do those guys have a right to talk their shit? Absolutely. I mean, they're some of the best players to ever play the game. But at the end of the day, just you got to take accountability at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like I guarantee you, Darvin Ham got blamed for getting for the Lakers losing, but he would have gotten no credit if the Lakers had won a championship. It would have all gone to LeBron. So with Frank Vogel, obviously first season, they just were doomed from the start since the Bradley Beal trade, in my opinion, at least. I don't know what you guys think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But they just could never stay healthy. They were very top heavy. They have no cap flexibility. They just pretty much used all of it on Grayson Allen. And now you lose in 4 games, the second sweep in 3 years for Kevin Durant. You lose at the hands of Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously not a very popular decision amongst NBA fans, especially amongst analysts and pundits. So I'll ask you guys, whichever one of you wants to answer first. What are your thoughts on just the firing of Frank Vogel?
You want me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's another thing, like scapegoat thing. I know Dejounte Murray tweeted right after he got fired saying that, why Dejounte, yeah.
Oh, Dejounte.
Dejounte Murray.
It's DeJounte.
Dejounte Murray.
Okay.
He tweeted, he was like, why is it always the coaches? The players got to take the accountability. And I think Vogel is a prime example of that. Me and Gio were talking about, or I don't know if it's been Gio, but, with Vogel can go back to the Lakers possibly, but I don't know about that. We can save that for another day. But I think, I don't think he had much to work with there with the injuries, and they said they were going to take a lot of time to evaluate him, but it felt like in a few days they made the decision and was to let him go. Regardless, it wasn't like, if Vogel would stay and change his staff up, that type of thing. But no, everybody's gone. So now it's another just one season for them. It seems like that they're trusting a lot in their players and more than their leadership right now. It seems like because, you're not going to trade Durant, you're not going to trade Booker, you're not going to blow it up. You kind of put it all in hands on the coach. The coach is the guy that takes the fault for everything, essentially.
Well, they could though. You never know. But
yeah.
I kind of want to touch on the part of evaluating him.
Yeah.
Who?
Did they
Vogel.
Did they evaluate Frank Vogel? It doesn't really seem like they did.
No, I don't think they did at all. That's what I was saying.
It didn't seem like it.
What do you mean by evaluate?
I think they made a statement saying that they were going to take time to evaluate Vogel.
Just kind of see the job he's done, compare
Right.
him to the other coaches in the league, and kind of give them a sense of what the output's going to look like in the next couple of years. And I want to ask you, because I know we've had a lot of dialogue together with Mat Ishbia. How much involvement do you think he's having in the fact of, I wouldn't say involvement, how much of his involvement is bad for the Suns?
Mat Ishbia is
The Suns owner.
the Suns' owner.
Yeah, the new owner.
And then James Jones is the GM?
The GM.
Okay.
Correct.
Can you say the question again?
So how is Mat Ishbia's impact hurting the Suns?
Yes. Short answer, yes. And that's because it seems like he doesn't really know basketball. He just threw a bunch of players together and then hired a coach for 5 years. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then you expect him to win. It doesn't, and then you fire him after 1 year. Absolutely no sense. So I feel bad for Vogel, but he's getting paid. So,
bro, he's got
fine.
generational wealth for the next 5 years or 4 years, I guess.
He's set.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the ownership is horrendous. They did a horrible job from hiring a coach and the players that they signed.
I wouldn't say it's horrendous. Compared to Robert Sarver, it's definitely a very big upgrade.
Okay.
Because obviously all the heinous shit that Sarver did was inexcusable. He needed to go.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, you need an owner that knows what they're doing, or at least to hire people that know what they're doing. And that's the report came out about a couple days ago that he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, it's all just winging it. It's all just big risks, big splashes. And, you know, in the NBA, you can spend a lot of money, but not under this new CBA. You got to be really strategic with your spending.
Yeah.
You know, and with all of this, it just puts you in a deeper hole. Now that you've given the Brooklyn Nets your entire future for the next decade, if this doesn't work out. Now, obviously, they'll get a return for probably Booker and Durant if shit hits the fan. Yeah. But the fact that you're stuck with a star that you still have to pay over $50 million to the next 3 years with a no trade clause, that is a sticky situation. And
I've heard though that Booker and KD want out of Phoenix. That's the rumors going on.
Yeah, I think you're more apt to see KD leave than Book, because Book's still young. He's still playing at he's still really kind of getting to his peak.
Right.
And I think he really likes it in Phoenix. And I think if you get rid of the other guys, I think you could probably do something. But I think there's just a big issue right now amongst Phoenix with this is just scratching the surface to all the problems they're going to run into. It's literally just like watching Brooklyn 2.0.
Yeah. I think Phoenix has 1 year to figure it out, and then Devin Booker might make his decision to want to leave or to stay. Because if there's no hope for the Phoenix Suns winning, Devin Booker doesn't want to stay.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, if the Suns' ownership and GM, if they show that they can put a team together around Booker to win a championship, to compete for a championship, Booker will stay.
Right.
But it's really up to that. So this next year is going to be very important for them. And I hope this firing of Vogel works out for them, just for Booker's sake, for him to stay or to leave. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if the new coach is going to have a longer leash than Vogel did. We'll see. I don't know. It seems like they had no trust in him. They just let him go. They didn't ride it out. Now they're paying also Vogel money too, not to add on for 4 years to add on with Beal as well. You're still, it's another money cap casualty thing they have. But they did it, and Vogel's free to if he wants to coach again, stay around or
make two salaries at once.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would be looking at it much differently if they signed Vogel to like a 2-year deal or 1 year with an option, just to see where it went. Of course, I
think it would have been fine because they probably would have just let the contract run out.
Yeah,
and it would have been fine.
Yeah,
you probably could have fired him mid-season, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is just a generational fumble by the Suns. I'm not saying that Vogel's some like Eric Spoelstra type coach, but he asked for a point guard, and you go get Bradley Beal instead. Like, you had CP3. I understand there was definitely upgrades you could have made instead of him, but I just didn't think that was the right move. And at the end of the day, we'll see. And speaking of new coach, I think it's probably time we segue over to the next part of this. The Suns actually quickly found their replacement, and they hired the guy that beat them in the NBA Finals back in 2021, and that's former Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer, someone that was a finalist for the Brooklyn Nets job, which I had just found out the reason why we didn't choose him is because he wanted obscene wages.
And he got it.
And
5 year,
getting it.
5 year, $50 million. Another 5-year contract.
The Nets were not paying that. I mean, there was no way in hell we were going to do that unless we still had Kevin Durant, which we don't. So obviously, Bud has been touted as it's very mixed, right? Because his defensive schemes are great, but his team just never really got it done outside of that 1 year, which was questionable enough in itself. So I'll ask you, what are your thoughts on this hire for one on Budenholzer's end? And then for the Suns' end?
Obviously Budenholzer, he got his money. Credit to him. He whether he does a good job or not, he got his money.
Right.
But for the Suns, I mean, I don't know if this does anything for them with the team that they have right now. They don't have great defensive pieces right now, but I think Budenholzer is, like you said, a good defensive coach, and he can help with that. Discipline on the defensive side of the ball, attention to details, stuff like that. The little things that are very important when you get to the game. He can help with that stuff, but I don't know if that puts him in contender league area. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't know, because it's all a PR stunt at this point, because Vogel's a defensive-minded head coach, and he also won a ring as a defensive-minded head coach. You know, I think that double big lineup they had with AD and Dwight Howard really caused problems. And, you know, I just don't think the Suns' roster's good.
Yeah.
I just don't. Well, it's always good when you have KD, but it's just not good enough, right?
They don't have the pieces.
Exactly.
The bigs, they're small.
Hey,
KD was playing what? He was playing 5 sometimes.
Right, because outside of Nurkic, who's only 6'9", like, who else do you have?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
he's
wild.
only 6'9".
Yeah.
He's huge though.
The way
like,
they measure people in the NBA is very strange.
Yeah.
Like, and you know Kemezi Metu?
Yeah.
So he got traded he was traded to the Grizzlies in the Royce O'Neal package. And I was in a net space. We were just talking about just like, you know, like player heights and stuff because we needed one. Kemezi Metu was like measured at like 6'10". He's really like 6'7". Wow. Yeah, it's like really strange. Wow. So
yeah,
it's really odd. I just love how when it comes to like really tall guys, if you're like 6'10", you're basically a 7-footer. Yeah. But there's so many discrepancies between 5'11" and 6 foot.
You're right.
It's just like the complete opposite, which is kind of strange. Yeah. But what do you think?
I mean, we all knew Bud was going to be back in the NBA if it was not this past year, the next year after. I don't know how deeply the Lakers were looking to get him. I don't think that would have been a good job for him. I think he got a better kind of payday, I think, and a better, I guess, media, less centric city with Phoenix. I'm saying that like very cautiously because Phoenix does have stars and KD's there. Yeah, it seems like he was the guy from the beginning. It was Vogel gone, Bud in. And, you know, they had nobody else that was really interviewed. It was just him. If that was the guy from the beginning, why didn't they just get him last year?
Right.
Why would you raise Vogel for? They wanted Bud. Maybe they couldn't meet his demands at that time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have no idea.
They could have. I'm just trying to think of how the process went out, because Suns fired Monty after round 2. Mm-hmm. The Bucks fired Bud after round 1. So yeah, they could have, but I don't know. It's always interesting, but I think Bud probably needed a year off. Yeah, very stressful tenure with Milwaukee. Both good and bad.
Also, being an NBA coach itself is very stressful.
Right. I think also
regardless.
Also, just avoid the Lakers at all costs, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he took the second of the 2 stressful jobs, being Lakers first, Phoenix second.
I would say the Knicks are probably a more stressful job just due to the market. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're not looking for a coach. I'm saying of the openings that were open right now.
Of the open jobs, I would say that's probably the toughest one right now.
Yeah.
Because outside of LA. But
I think we've
talking about the Knicks?
No,
I think Knicks overall in the NBA, because the Knicks and Lakers, you're dealing with the huge markets, New York media. You could throw the Nets in there as well, but people pay more attention to the Knicks as far as media goes. But out of these current jobs, Lakers, Suns, toxic cesspool beyond belief.